Age of marketing, markets may be classified into two categories: producing markets and consuming markets. So those markets which mainly assemble the commodities for further distribution to other markets are termed as producing markets. So basically, when the markets where producers are purchasing the produced products or the finished products for using them to produce other products, okay, so they're treating it as a producer good or an intermediate good. That is known as producing market. And consuming market is when the products are sold to the ultimate consumer. Markets which collect the produce for final disposal to the consuming population are called consumer markets. Okay, such markets are generally located in areas where production is inadequate or in thickly populated urban centers. Then next basis is on the basis of extent of public intervention. Based on the extent of public intervention, markets may be placed in any one of the following two cases: regulated markets and unregulated markets. So regulated markets are these are those markets in which business is done in accordance with the rules and regulations framed by the statutory market organization, representing different sections involved in markets. The marketing cost is such in such markets are standardized and marketing practices are regulated. So regulated means the government places some rules and regulations in place for the operations when these type of markets are concerned. Okay, that is why they are called regulated markets, because the government lays down a set of rules and regulations in order to regulate the activities of these markets. On the other hand, unregulated markets, these are the markets in which business is conducted without any set these are the markets in which business is conducted without any set rules and regulations. Traders frame the rules for the conduct of the business and run the market. These markets suffer from many ills, ranging from unstandardization, charges for marketing functions, to imperfections in the determination of prices. So basically, unregulated markets are markets run by the people who are being part of the market, or the sellers who are part of the market. Okay, those are known as unregulated markets. Okay, so these two are important. Okay, regulated and unregulated markets are important because in the next unit, in the coming unit, we will be studying about the unregulated and regulated markets. So you need to remember that regulated markets are operated by the government, and unregulated markets are the markets that are run and operated by the sellers that are involved in the market. Okay, and so next we come to on the basis of type of population served. So on the basis of population served by the market can be classified into either urban or rural market. Urban market A market which serves mainly the population residing in urban areas is called urban markets. The nature and quantum of demand for agriculture products arising from urban population is characterized by urban markets for farm products. Okay, so urban markets are markets that operate in the urban area for the population which lives in urban areas. And rural markets obviously are the opposite. They are set up in and for the rural population. The word rural market usually refers to the demand originating from the rural population. There is considerable difference in the nature of embedded services required with a farm product between urban and rural demands. Then lastly, on the basis of market functionaries and accrual of marketing margins. So marketing can also be classified on the basis of as to who are the market functionaries and to whom the marketing margins accrue, means are given. Over the years, there has been a considerable increase in the producer or consumer cooperatives or other organizations handling marketing of various products. Though private trade still handles bulk of the trade in the farm products, the cooperative marketing has increased its share in the grade of some agriculture commodities like milk, fertilizers, sugarcane, and sugar. In the case of marketing activities undertaken by producers or consumers, the marketing margins are either negligible or shared amongst their members. In some cases, farmers themselves work as sellers of their produce to the consumer. On the basis, the market can be farmers market, cooperative market, or general markets. Okay, so here market functionaries means who are actually operating the market, who are the actual sellers of the market, and who are the people who receive the benefits that are accrued in the market, that are earned in the market. So it can either be the farmer himself or herself, the cooperative society can be the earner of marketing margins and functionary, it can be the combination of both of these. Okay, so there are quite a lot of bases on which it is divided, but it will be helpful if you learn the dimensions, the point for dimensions, and then once you have the points memorized, then it will be easier for you to remember under what basis which are the segregations. Okay. So next we come to the dynamics of market structure. So conduct and performance. The market structure determines the market conduct and performance. The term market conduct refers to the pattern of behavior of firms, especially in relation to pricing and their practices in adapting and adjusting to the market in which they function. Specifically, market conduct includes market sharing, price setting policies aimed at coercing rivals, and policies towards setting the quality of the product. The term market performance refers to each firm to the economic results that flow from the industry as each firm pursues its particular line of conduct. Society has to decide the criteria for satisfactory market performance. Now, market structure or market performance, basically, we are here discussing how the market is supposed to operate and how it actually does. Okay, so we will also be studying the market forces that determine the operations of the market, that is demand and supply. So the market structure therefore has always to keep on adjusting to changing environment if it has to satisfy the social goals. A static market structure soon becomes obsolete because of the changes in the physical, economic, institutional and technological factors. For a satisfactory market performance, the market structure should keep pace with the following changes. So the agriculture market and almost every market in the world, any type of market we take, it is supposed to be dynamic. It cannot be static. Static means which is not changing, it is permanent, it's stagnant. Okay, so we need a good market to be dynamic or keeps on changing with the changing requirement, with the changing needs of the society, for the needs, for the changing needs of the consumers. Okay. So first is production pattern. How can it be ever changing or dynamic? First is production patterns. Significant changes occur in the production pattern because of technological, economic and institutional factors. The market structure should be reoriented to keep pace with such changes. Okay, so depending on the changing technology, economic and the institutional factors, means depending on the internal and external factors, we need to keep on adjusting the production pattern or the production quantity of our product. Then demand pattern. Then demand pattern. The demand for various products, especially in terms of form and quality, keeps on changing because of change in incomes, the pattern of distribution among consumers and changes in their tastes and habits. The market structure should be reoriented to keep it in harmony with the changes in demand. So changing demand also affects the structure of the market, how it will operate, and it is influenced by the pattern of distribution, changes in taste and habits, and change in income. Okay. Then cost and pattern of marketing functions. Marketing functions such as transportation, storage, financing and dissemination of market information have a great bearing on the type of market structure. Government policies with regard to purchase, sale and subsidies affect the performance of market functions. The market structure should keep on adjusting to the changes in cost and government policy. So this is another factor that affects the change in market structure, that is cost and patterns of marketing functions. So time to time the marketing functions, the strategies have to be adjusted depending on the changing conditions of the market, which also affects the cost. Then technological change in industry. Technological changes necessitate changes in the market structure, though through adjustments in the scale of business, the number of firms, and in their financial requirements. Okay. Lastly, taking up the last topic of this unit, components of market structure and market forces. So the components of market structure which together determine the conduct and performance of the market are concentration of market power. The concentration of market power is an important element determining the nature of competition and thus market conduct and performance. This is measured by the number and size of firms existing in the market. The extent of concentration represents the control of an individual firm or a group of firms over the buying and selling of the produce. A high degree of market concentration restricts the movement of goods between buyer and seller at fair and competitive prices. And creates an oligopoly or oligopoly situation in the market. So the market power can shift from one market element to another depending on the current situation or conditions of the market, like nature of competition. Okay, so the amount of competition or the number of rival firms in the market can impact the functioning of the market. Then this is measured by the number and size of the firms existing in the market. Okay, so you may have studied in the last semester we discussed about Porter's 5-force model. Does anybody remember that? I showed you a Porter's 5-force model in which there were 5 forces that act in operating a market. Does anybody remember that? Here, can you see this? The Porter's 5-force model.
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the 5 forces that affect a market functioning, okay, or the structure of the market. So at the center of it all is the most important and most strong force, that is rivalry among the existing competitors. Then there are power of suppliers, then power of buyers, okay, substitute product threats, new entrants. All these are the forces that actually affect a market in its operations. Okay. Alright, then next we come to degree of product differentiation. Whether or not products are homogeneous affect the market structure. If the products are homogeneous, the price variation in the market will not be wide. When products are heterogeneous, the firm have the tendency to charge different prices for their products. So Differentiation means whether the products are similar to each other, means homogeneous product means products are absolutely similar to each other. Okay, like in a vegetable market, all the sellers who are selling tomatoes would have the similar kind of tomatoes. Okay, there is no differentiation in the tomatoes that are available in the market. So different, but there can be variation in the quality, right? Some would be of better quality, some would be not as good. So degree of differentiation affects the market structure or price of the product. Then conditions for entry of firm in the market. Another dimension of market structure is the restriction, if any, on the entry of firm in the market. Sometimes a few big firms do not allow new firms to enter the market or make their entry difficult by their dominance in the market. There may also be some government restrictions on the entry of firms. So entry of firms or entry of new firms in the market also determines how the market structure would vary. The number of firms that enter into a market obviously increase the number of competitors in the market. Okay, the more number of firms means more competitors, means more competition, means smaller share of the customer base, right? So the more competitors there are, the lesser would be the market share that each of the companies receive. All right, it's like the customer share. See, number of customers in the market are constant, I mean to an extent, and all the producers that enter into that specific industry would obviously have to cater to the same number of consumers. Okay, it's not like with the number of producers, number of consumer also keep on increasing. It does increase, but not as quickly as producers may increase. Okay, like say for example 6 new firms start production in the last 6 months. So each unit would obviously be able to produce say 10,000 units per month, and depending on that, the consumer base does not grow as fast as this pace of production. Okay, so the customer share would reduce. Some customers from other brands that originally existed would stop purchasing their products and shift to the new brand. Okay, so conditions of entry of the firms in the market. Then next is flow of market information. A well organized market intelligence information system helps all the buyers and sellers to freely interact with one another in arriving at prices and striking deals. So flow of information means the knowledge about the available products, and buyers and sellers to freely interact with one another in arriving at prices and striking deals. So depending on how much the customer is aware about, the market structure will be different. Then degree of integration. The behavior of an integrated market will be different from that of a market where there is no or less integration either among the firm or of their activities. Firms plan their strategies in respect to the methods to be employed in determining prices, increasing sales, or coordinating with competing firms and adopting predatory practices against the rival or potential entrants. Okay, so degree of integration means degree of involvement, we can say. How much the consumers and the producers are involved in the market. The behavior of an integrated market will be different from that of a market where there is no or less integration. Okay, so interference or involvement of the consumers or producers in the market will determine the structure of operations in the market. So firm plan strategy in respect of methods to be employed in determining prices, increasing sales, coordinating with competing firms and adopting predatory practices against the rivals or potential entrants. Okay, so this brings us to the end of the second unit. Next we have to start with the third unit. Okay, please keep on reading through whatever we study each day. Okay, otherwise you will forget, because this is a more complicated subject as compared to what we covered in the last semester. Okay, then market management and channel strategy. Then in this we will study about the modern marketing management and agriculture products. So we'll just see what does modern marketing management refer to. So initially marketing was meant to be the action of transporting the goods or goods produced from the producer to the end consumer. But in the present day, marketing from the actions taken before production of goods and service to their distribution, and even after sales services are included. A salesperson or sales manager also refers to marketing only by selling. If a family woman is asked what is marketing, she will immediately reply that when she buys food, clothes, etc. for a family, she does marketing only. So, similarly, for a seller, marketing means selling goods to consumers. Marketing of a farmer to sell his products in the market is the opinion of marketing experts that in practice the word marketing is often used by every person in a new sense in the context of their position, qualification, requirement and environment. So earlier, initially marketing usually included just the promotion of the product. That is when we try to influence the consumer to buy our product. But recently, with modern thoughts or modern thinkers, the modern concepts of or practicing of marketing or trying to sell the product, it has become a more diverse kind of concept. Okay, so now marketing, as in the first few classes I explained, that marketing can or marketing does include start from the conceptualization of the product and does not even end after sale. So because it includes the after sale services as well. Okay, so modern marketing management is a little bit different. It is more complex. It includes a lot more strategies as compared to the traditional marketing of the product. Okay, then characteristics of marketing. So the scope of marketing is very broad. Pre-production and post-sales activities include these. So marketing activities are involved in pre-production as well as post-sale activities. So as I said, before production, even at the conceptualization of the product, we are involved in marketing, and even after the sale of the product, the after sale services, the feedback of the consumer, all are become part of the marketing concept. Then marketing is a dynamic system that connects an organization to its market. So dynamic system means which keeps on changing. It is never constant. Okay, so marketing obviously depends on how the market is, or in what situation, which season, what are the current tastes and preferences of the consumer. It keeps on changing depending on all these things. Marketing is functional, which is concerned with taking the product from production centers to the consumption centers. Then marketing is a business process by which products are tailored to the market, and ownership is transferred. So tailored means made to adjust or adapt to the market. So depending on the current situation, the current needs, taste, preferences, all the products are usually altered in order to fit the current profile of the consumer. Okay, so tailored means just like we go to the tailor to get our dresses made, and tailor makes the dresses depending on the exact size and preferences of the consumer. If you take a piece of cloth to the tailor and ask him or her to make you a dress, he or she will create the dress exactly with your body measurements, with your likes and dislikes of the design, the pattern of how you want the dress to ultimately look like. So tailored means here also the same concept is being applied, that all the business processes, all the product features, usage are altered depending on the changing needs of the consumer. Then it generates revenue. Obviously marketing generates revenue because it influences the consumer to purchase more, or actually purchase the product. Then marketing provides standard of living. So marketing actually helps us in influencing the consumer's thinking or thought process in order to relate a particular product with a better lifestyle. Okay, whenever you see just like advertisements are part of marketing, so as we see product being marketed or advertised, they always show the product being used by a certain kind of people, and which affects the